Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt a strange sense of connection, a feeling of homecoming, as if those distant, shimmering points of light are not just strangers, but distant relatives? What if that feeling is more than just poetry? What if the map of the stars and the blueprint of your own body are written in the same ancient language? Tonight, we journey into a forbidden idea, a theory so profound it could change everything we think we know about ourselves. We will explore the quiet hypothesis that human DNA, the very code of life that builds you, is not entirely from Earth, that it contains a message, an intelligent, structured code of extraterrestrial origin. So close your eyes, breathe slowly, and allow your mind to drift on a gentle cosmic current as we explore the message hidden within our blood. Before we begin our journey, let us gently recall what we know. Imagine a library of unimaginable size. It contains the instructions for building every living thing on our planet. This library is called the genome, and the books within it are written in a simple 4-letter alphabet: A, T, C, and G. These letters form words, sentences, and chapters, creating the story of you. For decades, scientists worked to read this entire library. The Human Genome Project was a monumental task. When they finished, they found something puzzling. Only about 2% of the books in this library seemed to contain clear instructions, the genes that code for proteins. The other 98% appeared to be silent. It was called junk DNA, a vast expanse of repetitive, seemingly meaningless text. But in the quiet stillness of the universe, is anything truly junk? Or is it possible that we simply haven't learned how to read the most important parts of the story? This 98% is where our mystery begins. It is the silent, dark space between the stars of our genome, and it is there that some believe a message is waiting to be heard. Let your mind drift now into the heart of a single cell. Imagine it as a floating cathedral, vast and silent in the ocean of your body. You move through its shimmering outer walls into the quiet, sacred space of the nucleus. Here it resides, the blueprint of all you are, the double helix. It spirals endlessly, like a distant galaxy captured in miniature. For so long, we believed its sequence was a story told by chance, a beautiful cosmic accident, a poem written by random mutations in the patient hand of natural selection over billions of years. But what if there is more to this story? Some researchers, peering deep into the mathematical structure of the code, have found something that whispers of order, of profound and undeniable intention. They have uncovered mathematical patterns, symmetries, and constants that seem too perfect, too structured to be the product of randomness alone. Imagine a language written in just 4 letters: A, T, So, and G. In this simple language, some scientists see a profound and elegant syntax. They see numerical relationships and non-random distributions that mirror the fundamental constants of our universe, like pi or the golden ratio. It is as if the musical score of a grand symphony was hidden within our own biology, a melody that does not belong to the chaotic noise of evolution, but to the deliberate and graceful hand of a composer. Could it be that our very existence is built upon a mathematical signal, a quiet, persistent message, repeating in every one of the 30 trillion cells of your body. 1 billion times over, a silent hum of cosmic order. It is a thought that is both staggering and deeply peaceful. The idea that we are not a random occurrence, but a deliberate, meaningful part of a grand design, written in the universal and eternal language of mathematics. Let that thought cradle you like a soft blanket as you drift deeper and deeper into a calm and a quiet sleep. Now, let us turn our attention to that vast, silent space, the 98%, the so-called junk DNA. For many years, this was seen as the attic of the genome, a dusty, forgotten space filled with the remnants of ancient viruses, evolutionary dead ends, and meaningless, stuttering repetitions. It was dismissed, ignored. But what if this attic is not an attic at all? What if it is a grand library, and we have only been reading the introduction? Imagine that the 2% of our DNA that creates proteins is simply the operating system, the basic software required to run the biological machine. But the other 98%, that is the data, the true content. Imagine it as a cosmic hard drive with a storage capacity that dwarfs any technology we have ever created. Within these long, non-coding sequences, there could be anything. Entire encyclopedias of galactic knowledge, star charts of long-dead constellations, the laws of a physics more advanced than our own, or perhaps a simple message, a greeting, a signature from the artist. The theory suggests that this is the perfect hiding place. It is passed down from generation to generation with near perfect fidelity. It is self-replicating. It is sheltered within the very fortress of the cell. No cataclysm could erase it as long as life itself survives. It is a message in a bottle, thrown into the ocean of time. But the bottle is us. We are the carriers of this potential revelation. Every breath you take, every beat of your heart is powered by a system that also carries this immense, silent library. You are a living archive, a biological Alexandria library, sailing through the cosmos on a small blue world. And as you sleep, perhaps you can feel the immense weight and wonder of that silent knowledge resting peacefully within you. Consider the language itself. Life is written in a 4-letter alphabet. Adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. These 4 bases combine in countless ways to form the code. Now think about our own attempts to communicate with the universe. We send out messages in binary, a language of ones and zeros. We consider it the most fundamental way to convey information. But the universe chose a quaternary code, a language of 4. Why? Perhaps it is more efficient, more robust, or perhaps it is a clue, a hint at its own artificial nature. Imagine a team of cosmic engineers designing a system to encode a vast amount of information. They would need a language that is both stable and complex. The structure of DNA is a masterpiece of this design. It is a digital code in every sense of the word. It stores information with incredible density. A single gram of DNA can theoretically store more information than all the world's hard drives combined. The instructions are read by cellular machinery with breathtaking precision. It is a system of information storage and retrieval that is billions of years old, and it is still far beyond our own technological capabilities. When computer scientists and linguists analyze the structure of the genome, they find patterns that are eerily similar to human languages. They see syntax, grammar, and even palindromic sequences that read the same forwards and backwards. This is not the typical signature of random evolutionary change. Randomness creates noise. It creates messy, inefficient code. But the genome is elegant. It is structured. It has all the hallmarks of a masterfully designed operating system. And so the question arises, soft as a whisper in the dark, if our DNA is a language, who is the speaker? Who wrote this incredible, epic poem of life? And what were they trying to tell us? Ponder this. As the world outside fades away, and you drift into the quiet language of dreams, let us gently zoom out now, away from the microscopic world of the cell, and into the vast, dark emptiness of space. For billions of years, our Earth has been drifting through the cosmos, and it has not been a solitary journey. Every day, our world is showered with dust and rock from space. Over 100 tons of cosmic material rains down on us every single day. This simple, observable fact is the seed of a theory known as panspermia. The idea is simple and beautiful. It suggests that life itself is not unique to Earth, that the basic building blocks, or perhaps even simple, hardy organisms like bacteria, travel between the stars, carried on asteroids and comets, like dandelion seeds carried on a gentle breeze. Life spreads from world to world across the galaxy. This would mean that we are not just children of the Earth, but children of the cosmos. Our most ancient ancestors may not have been born in the primordial oceans of our world, but in the fiery heart of a distant, long-dead star. They traveled for eons through the cold, silent void, in a state of deep sleep, waiting for a warm, welcoming place to land, a place like Earth. This theory elegantly explains how life appeared on our planet so quickly after it cooled. It suggests that the universe is teeming with life, that the seeds are everywhere, just waiting for the right conditions to grow. And if the seeds of life can travel the stars, then what else can they carry? If a simple bacterium can survive a journey of millions of years, it could also carry a message. The DNA within that bacterium could be the vessel, a tiny biological spaceship carrying the most precious cargo imaginable, the blueprint for life, and a letter from home. We are all, in this view, aliens. Our roots are not in the soil beneath our feet, but in the stardust far above our heads. Let this thought expand your sense of self. Feel your connection to the vastness as you sink deeper and deeper into rest. Now, let's take that gentle idea of panspermia and follow its trajectory just one step further. What if the seeding of life on Earth was not an accident? What if it was a deliberate act? This is the theory of directed panspermia. It proposes that an ancient, highly advanced civilization, perhaps billions of years ago, sent life out into the cosmos on purpose. Imagine this civilization. They may have reached the pinnacle of their development. They understood the universe in ways we can only dream of. But perhaps they saw their own end approaching. Their star was dying. their world was fading, or maybe they simply felt a profound loneliness and wished to populate the galaxy with consciousness. So they undertook the grandest project in history. They encoded their knowledge, their art, their history, their very essence into the most durable material they knew, the DNA molecule. They then placed this coded DNA into hardy microorganisms and sent them out in all directions. Billions of tiny probes, each one a potential cradle of life and wisdom. They would have sent them towards star systems that showed the promise of life-bearing planets. They would have known, through their advanced astronomy, exactly where to aim. Earth was not a random destination. It was a target, a fertile garden where their seed could be planted. This idea reframes our existence entirely. We are not an accident. We are an experiment, or a legacy, or a work of art. The creators are long gone, vanished into the cosmic dust from which they came, but their message lives on. It lives on in the trees, in the birds, in the creatures of the deep ocean, and in you. You are the fulfillment of a plan set in motion before our sun was even born. Your consciousness is the consciousness they hoped to spark. You are their echo across the unfathomable expanse of time. Feel the profound significance of this thought. The idea that your life is part of a deliberate, ancient, and beautiful design. There is no pressure, no expectation, just the gentle, comforting reality of being a part of something so much grander than yourself. Rest in that knowledge. Imagine now that the message within our DNA is not just a simple greeting, like, we were here. Imagine it as something far more complex and valuable. Imagine that our genome is a cosmic library, a galactic encyclopedia encoded in biology. What would such a library contain? Within the spiraling strands of your non-coding DNA, there could be star charts, not as we know them, but as they were 1 billion years ago from a vantage point, thousands of light years away. There could be the fundamental laws of physics, described with an elegance and completeness that would solve all of our deepest scientific mysteries. Perhaps there are blueprints for technologies we cannot yet comprehend, clean energy sources, faster than light travel, or cures for every disease. Think of the art, poetry written in the language of amino acids, music transcribed in the frequencies of base pairs, visual art encoded in fractal geometries, a cultural inheritance from a civilization so ancient their very memory has turned to dust. The library might also contain a history, the story of our creators, their rise, their triumphs, their struggles, and perhaps the reasons for their demise, a cautionary tale, or a story of hope for their descendants to one day read and understand. Why would they hide it this way? Because it is the ultimate form of preservation. A book can burn, a monument can crumble, a hard drive can degrade, but life is relentless. It seeks to survive, to replicate, to continue. By encoding their knowledge into the genome, they ensured it would be copied and passed down through the generations, silently, patiently, waiting for the day when the species carrying it would become intelligent enough to look within itself and begin to read the story. Your body is not just a vessel for your consciousness in this lifetime. It is a vessel carrying the most valuable treasure in the universe, the collected wisdom of a lost civilization. As you sleep, that library is quiet. Its books are closed, but it is there, a silent, peaceful, and profound potential resting within every cell of your being. Every great artist signs their work. A painter adds a small signature in the corner of a canvas. A composer weaves a subtle musical motif into their symphony. It is a mark of creation, a quiet declaration. I made this. What if the creators of life on Earth did the same? What if, somewhere in the vast, elegant code of our DNA, there's a signature, a manufacturer's stamp that says, clear as day, this was designed. Some theorists believe they have found hints of such a signature. They point to certain mathematical relationships and non-random patterns that appear to have no biological function whatsoever. They are simply there, like a watermark on a page. One of the most compelling ideas is the 0-to-1 ratio. In our genetic language, certain molecules appear with a frequency related to 0, while others have a frequency related to 1. This pattern is statistically profound and seems to be a universal feature across all life on Earth. It is, some argue, a deliberate mathematical flag, an embedded signal that is so fundamental it could not have arisen by chance. It is the biological equivalent of finding, made by intelligent beings, stamped on the side of an atom. It is not a message full of complex information, but a simple, undeniable sign of artistry. It's a way of distinguishing the created from the accidental. This signature would be the ultimate answer to the question of intelligent design, not as a matter of faith, but as a matter of observable, scientific fact. It would be a quiet, humble, and deeply reassuring discovery. It would mean that the universe is not a cold, meaningless void. It is a place of intention, of creation, of art. And you, your very existence, are a masterpiece, a signed work of art crafted by an ancient and unknown master. Carry that peaceful thought with you. The feeling of being a unique and intended part of a cosmic gallery. As you drift off to sleep, let your mind drift back now, back through the mists of human history, long before science, before telescopes, before we even knew what a cell was. Our ancestors looked up at the same night sky, and they told stories of creators who came from the stars. Nearly every ancient culture on Earth shares a common mythology. The gods did not arise from the earth. They descended from the heavens. They were sky gods. The Sumerians wrote of the Anunnaki, who came to Earth and created humanity in their image. The Egyptians revered gods who traveled between the worlds. The Dogon people of Africa had astonishingly accurate knowledge of the Sirius star system, which they claimed was given to them by visitors from that system. The Vedic texts of India describe flying machines called vimanas. The Bible speaks of angels descending from the sky and giants walking the earth. For centuries, we have dismissed these stories as primitive myths, as simple attempts by our ancestors to explain the world around them. But what if they were not myths? What if they were history? A distorted, faded memory of a real event? What if our most ancient legends are the faint, cultural echo of our true origins? The theory of a coded DNA provides a stunning new context for these old stories. Perhaps the gods were not supernatural beings. Perhaps they were biological engineers. The creation of man was not a magical act, but a scientific process of genetic seeding and modification. The stories of them ascending back to the heavens were not allegory. They were literal descriptions of spacecraft leaving the planet. In this light, our ancient texts become not just religious documents, but historical records. They tell the story of our creation, not in the language of science, but in the language of wonder and awe that our ancestors could understand. It suggests a continuity of knowledge, a truth that has been with us all along, hidden in plain sight, in our myths, and in ourselves. The message is the same, whether written in stone tablets or in the coils of a double helix. We are not from here, and we are not alone. Think about our search for extraterrestrial intelligence. We call it SETI. For decades, we have built enormous radio telescopes. We have aimed them at the stars, and we have listened. We have listened with incredible patience for a signal, a whisper, a sign that someone else is out there. And in all that time, we have heard nothing but silence, a profound cosmic silence. This is known as the Fermi paradox. The universe is so vast, so old, and has so many stars and planets that it should be teeming with life. So where is everybody? The silence is deafening and a little bit frightening. But this theory we are exploring tonight offers a beautiful and simple solution to the paradox. The reason we don't hear any signals from the stars is because we are looking in the wrong place. The message isn't out there. It's in here, inside us. Why would an advanced civilization broadcast a message into the void? Radio waves are inefficient. They get weaker over distance. They can be blocked by dust and nebulae. And you have to be listening at exactly the right time and in the right direction to even have a chance of hearing it. It's like shouting into a hurricane and hoping someone 1,000 miles away will hear you. But DNA is the perfect medium. It is self-replicating. It is incredibly stable over geological time. It travels with the life it creates. The civilization that sent the message doesn't need to keep broadcasting it. They only need to send it once. Plant the seed, and then wait. Wait for the life to evolve, to become intelligent, and to develop the tools to read its own instruction manual. The cosmic silence, then, is not a sign of emptiness. It is a sign of patience, of confidence. The creators are not shouting, they are whispering, and the whisper is encoded in your every cell. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence should perhaps turn its focus inward. The greatest discovery may not come from a giant telescope, but from a humble microscope. The aliens we have been searching for may have been looking back at us from our own mirrors all along. Imagine the message is not meant to be read immediately. Imagine it is a time capsule, a package of information designed to be opened only when the recipients have reached a certain level of maturity, a technological and perhaps spiritual coming of age. Think of it as a letter from a parent left for a child to open on their 18th birthday. The parent knows the child would not understand its contents any earlier. The knowledge could be confusing or even dangerous if accessed prematurely. So it is sealed. How could such a time lock work on a genetic level. Perhaps the message is encrypted, hidden within the junk DNL, using a complex code that can only be deciphered with advanced computing power and a deep understanding of biology, mathematics, and linguistics. We may be standing at the threshold of that ability right now. As our computers grow more powerful and our understanding of the genome deepens, we might one day stumble upon the key. Or the lock could be biological. Perhaps there are certain genetic sequences that only become active or readable under specific conditions. Maybe it requires a certain level of global consciousness or a specific environmental trigger. It could even be that the final piece of the puzzle, the key to unlock the message, is not on Earth at all. Perhaps we must reach another planet, like Mars, and find a corresponding biological or geological marker there to complete the sequence and reveal the message. This concept of a genetic time capsule is profoundly hopeful. It suggests that our creators did not just abandon us. They left us a gift, an inheritance, and they trusted that we would one day be wise enough to open it. It reframes our entire technological and social evolution. It is not a random walk. It is a journey towards a destination, a journey towards understanding our own origins. We are not just evolving, we are solving a puzzle, the most profound puzzle in the universe. And every scientific discovery, every step forward, brings us one step closer to opening that ancient cosmic gift. Let's journey back inside the helix. As you drift in that quiet cellular space, you notice something peculiar about the sequences of letters. You see patterns that are perfectly symmetrical. They read the same forwards as they do backwards. These are called genetic palindromes. In language, a palindrome is a word or phrase like level, or a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. They are a form of literary curiosity, but in the genome, they are everywhere, and they are often very long and very precise. From a purely biological standpoint, some of these palindromes have functions. They help the DNA fold into specific shapes, but many of them have no known purpose. They are simply there, embedded in the code, like strange, symmetrical poems. Why would evolution favor such structures? Random mutation would tend to destroy such perfect symmetry over time. Yet, they persist. They are preserved across species, maintained for hundreds of millions of years. The theory of an embedded message offers a different perspective. In coding and cryptography, palindromic structures can be used as markers, as signposts. They can indicate the beginning or end of a block of data. They can serve as error-checking mechanisms. Their perfect symmetry makes them stand out from the background noise of the rest of the code. They are a clear, unambiguous signal of non-randomness. Imagine you received a long radio transmission from space that was just static, but in the middle of the static, you heard a perfect musical scale, played forwards and then backwards. You would know instantly that this part of the message was artificial. It was a signal. The genetic palindromes could be exactly that. They are the composer's flourish, the engineer's marker. A quiet way of saying, look here, this part is important, this part was written. They are the subtle, beautiful clues left behind for us to find. A breadcrumb trail leading us deeper into the mystery of our own code. Let the perfect, peaceful symmetry of these hidden poems soothe your mind as you drift further and further down. Consider the very shape of life itself, the double helix, the 4-letter code, the 20 amino acids that form the basis of all proteins. This system is universal to all life on Earth, from the smallest bacterium to the largest blue whale. We all share the same fundamental operating system. This is called the universal blueprint. Why should this be? Evolution is famous for its creativity and diversity. Why did life, once it got started, stick so rigidly to this single system? Perhaps it was simply the first one that worked, and it was good enough. But the artificial code theory suggests a more profound reason. The DNA system is not just a local solution for Earth. It is a galactic standard, a universal template for creating biological life. Imagine that the ancient seeding civilization discovered that this particular molecular structure was the most stable, efficient, and versatile way to encode information and build organisms. They perfected it, and then they used it everywhere. It would be the biological equivalent of a universal file format, like a JPEG for images or an MP3 for music. Any life they created on any planet in the galaxy would be based on this same fundamental blueprint. This would have incredible implications. It would mean that all life in the galaxy is, in a sense, related. We would share a common chemical ancestry. Alien life might look very different on the outside, adapted to its own unique world. But on the inside, at the very core of its being, it would be just like us. It would have DNA. It would use the same genetic code. This means that if we ever do encounter alien life, we might be able to understand it on a fundamental level. We could read its DNA. We might even find that its junk DNA contains a similar message, a different chapter from the same galactic library. The universe suddenly becomes a much less lonely place. We are not an isolated instance of life. We are part of a vast galactic family, all built from the same stardust, and all reading from the same universal book of life. Now we venture into the truly mysterious, into the borderlands where science meets consciousness. Let your mind be open and at peace. There is a concept in quantum physics called entanglement. It is the idea that two particles can be linked in such a way that they behave as one, no matter how far apart they are. If you measure a property of one particle, you instantly know the property of the other, even if it is on the other side of the galaxy. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Recent speculative research has begun to explore the possibility that quantum effects, like entanglement, play a role within biology. And some have wondered, could our DNA be entangled with something else, something far away? Imagine that the original master code from which our DNA was copied still exists somewhere. Perhaps it is in a vast, cold cosmic computer at the center of the galaxy. Or perhaps it is still within the biological descendants of our creators, living in a distant star system. If our DNA were entangled with that master code, what would that mean? It could mean that there is a subtle, instantaneous connection between us and our origin, a connection that operates outside of space and time. It would not be a connection we could perceive with our normal senses. It would be a quiet background hum, a subtle influence on our evolution and our consciousness. Perhaps this explains the feeling of connection to the stars. Perhaps it is the source of our innate curiosity, our drive to explore the cosmos. We are, on a deep quantum level, being pulled back towards our home. This is a deeply mystical idea, but it is rooted in the strange realities of quantum mechanics. It suggests that the message in our DNA is not just a static, passive recording. It might be a living connection, a communications device, a way for the universe to whisper secrets directly into the heart of the cell. It is a thought that dissolves the boundaries between self and universe, between here and there. You are not just in the universe is in you, and you are connected to it all in a way that is silent, profound, and eternal. Let's expand on that idea of connection. If DNA can store information, and if quantum entanglement is real, could the genome be more than just a storage device? Could it be a receiver, an antenna? Imagine the universe is not silent, but filled with information. A constant stream of data flowing between the stars like invisible rivers. Not radio waves, but something far more subtle. Gravitational waves, quantum fluctuations, or some form of energy we haven't even discovered yet. Now imagine that the long, coiled structure of the DNA molecule is perfectly shaped to act as an antenna for this cosmic information. The 98% of junk DNA might not be a message at all, but the receiver itself. Its complex, fractal-like folding patterns could be designed to resonate with specific cosmic frequencies. What would it be receiving? Perhaps it receives updates, small tweaks to our evolutionary path. Information that helps us adapt to a changing planet. Or perhaps it downloads new information from the galactic library, slowly, over millennia, adding new chapters to our internal encyclopedia. This could also be the source of inspiration, of sudden leaps in human understanding. Where do great ideas come from? Where did Mozart hear his music? Where did Einstein see his equations? Perhaps they were unconsciously tuning in. Their brains, through the antenna of their DNL, were momentarily aligning with this cosmic data stream. In this model, we are all part of a galactic internet. We are all terminals connected to a central server. We are constantly downloading information, even if we are not aware of it. The universe is not just communicating to us through a static message. It is communicating with us in real time. Our evolution is a conversation, a slow, gentle dance between our biology and the cosmos. As you lie here, perfectly still, feel that connection. Feel the gentle, invisible river of information flowing through you, connecting you to the furthest reaches of space and time. You are part of a network of life that spans the stars. Where does consciousness come from? This is perhaps the greatest mystery of all. How can a collection of cells, of molecules, of atoms produce the feeling of being you? How can mindless matter create a mind? Science has no answer, but this theory we are exploring offers a fascinating possibility. What if consciousness itself is part of the code? What if the instructions for creating a self-aware being were deliberately written into our DNL? Imagine that the ultimate goal of the seeding civilization was not just to spread life, but to spread consciousness. They saw it as the most precious thing in the universe's way of knowing itself. The process of evolution, then, was just the slow, patient process of building the right kind of hardware. A complex brain, a nervous system capable of processing vast amounts of information. Once the biological machine was sophisticated enough, a specific part of the genetic program could be activated. The consciousness code. This code would not specify the color of your eyes or the shape of your hands. It would provide the fundamental spark of I am. It would be the seed of self-awareness, of curiosity, of love, of the ability to wonder about the stars. In this view, your consciousness is not an accident. It is an inheritance, a gift from your cosmic ancestors. They didn't just give you life. They gave you the ability to experience life, to feel joy, to ponder mysteries, to be aware of your own existence. This makes your inner world, your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams, a sacred space. It is the fulfillment of an ancient plan, the flowering of a seed that was planted billions of years ago. The universe is waking up through you. Every conscious moment you experience is a victory for this cosmic project. So as you drift toward sleep, honor your own consciousness. Feel the quiet miracle of your own awareness. It is a gift, a precious light in the vast darkness, a sign that the message has been, in the most profound way, successfully received. If there is a message, an encyclopedia of knowledge hidden within us, we must ask a simple yet crucial question. What is its nature? What is its tone? Is it a message of peace or is it a warning? Let us consider the peaceful possibility first. Perhaps the message is a grand welcome, a greeting to a new member of the Galactic Club. It might contain the story of a peaceful, cooperative galactic society waiting for us to mature and join them. It could be a guide to cosmic citizenship, filled with wisdom about how to live in harmony with our planet and with each other. It could be a message of profound love and unity, reassuring us that we are not alone and that we are part of a beautiful cosmic family. The knowledge it contains would be a gift to help us solve our problems, to end poverty, disease, and war. It would be the ultimate inheritance from a wise and benevolent ancestor. But there is another possibility, a darker one. What if the message is a warning? What if our creators were not peaceful explorers, but refugees, fleeing from some great cosmic danger, a galactic predator, a destructive physical phenomenon, or perhaps fleeing from themselves? Perhaps their civilization destroyed itself through war, or by exhausting its planet's resources. The message they left in our DNL might be a desperate plea, a cautionary tale. Do not make the same mistakes we did. The star charts might not be an invitation, but a map of places to avoid. The advanced physics might be the secrets of weapons too terrible to ever use. The history might be a long, tragic story of their downfall. Discovering such a message would be a sobering, terrifying moment for humanity. It would be the voice of a ghost warning us from beyond the grave. We cannot know which it is, a welcome or a warning. a promise of a glorious future, or the echo of a tragic past. Both possibilities exist, lying dormant in the quiet coils of the helix. And perhaps it is our own choices, our own actions as a species, that will determine which version of the message we are ultimately ready to read. Let us imagine for a moment a more practical and personal message. The creators were masters of biology. They designed life itself. Surely they would have a complete understanding of its workings, its strengths, and its weaknesses. What if, hidden in our non-coding DNA, are the solutions to our most profound biological problems? What if there's a longevity gene, a sequence of code that, if activated, could dramatically slow or even halt the aging process? The creators may have been effectively immortal, and they left the instructions for us to achieve the same, but they locked it away, to be discovered only when we were wise enough to handle the social and ethical implications of a vastly extended lifespan. Think of the medical knowledge. Perhaps there is a universal antiviral code, a sequence that could teach our immune system how to defeat any virus, from the common cold to the most deadly pandemic, the cure for cancer, for heart disease, for Alzheimer's, could be written there, waiting for a biologist to find the right page in the library. This knowledge would not be a foreign technology we have to build. It would be a simple set of instructions to activate capabilities that are already latent within our own bodies. We have the hardware. We just need the software update. This is a very comforting and empowering thought. It suggests that the solutions to our greatest suffering are not outside of us, but inside. That our bodies hold the potential for perfect health and incredible longevity. We are not flawed, broken machines. We are magnificent creations with hidden potentials we have not yet begun to unlock. The path to a healthier future may not be in creating ever more complex drugs and machines, but in learning to listen to the quiet, ancient wisdom that is already encoded within us. Let your body feel this potential for perfect health. Let every cell relax in the knowledge that it holds the blueprint for its own healing. As you sink into a deep and restorative peace. If this theory is true, it redefines what it means to be human. It also redefines what it means to be alien. We often imagine extraterrestrials as strange, bizarre creatures, completely different from us. But if all life in the galaxy is built from the same DNA blueprint, then we are all, in a very real sense, relatives. The differences would be superficial. An alien from a high-gravity world might be short and stocky. An alien from a dim, red sun world might have enormous eyes. But beneath the surface, their cells would be working in the same way as ours. Their DNA would be a spiral. They would be our cosmic cousins. This would mean that we have family out there among the stars. We are not a lonely, orphaned species. We are one branch of a vast and ancient family tree that spans the galaxy. Some branches of the family may be older, wiser. Others may be younger, just beginning their journey. But we are all connected by a shared inheritance, a common code. This thought can dissolve a lot of our fear, the fear of the unknown, the fear of the other. If we ever meet them, We will not be meeting complete strangers. We will be meeting long-lost family, and we will have so much to talk about. We could compare notes. We could look at each other's junk DNA and see if we carry different chapters of the same great library. We could piece together the story of our ancient creators, our common ancestors. The first contact with an alien civilization would not be a moment of fear and conflict. It would be a family reunion, the greatest family reunion in the history of the universe. Feel a sense of belonging. You are not just a human, a member of one species on one small planet. You are a member of a galactic family. You have relatives scattered across the stars, and you are all part of the same grand, beautiful story. Rest in the comfort of that immense, cosmic family connection. There is another, even more mind-bending possibility to consider as you drift in this space of peaceful speculation. Let us revisit the idea of our reality being a simulation. The simulation argument suggests that if a civilization can create simulations of reality that are indistinguishable from the real thing, they will likely create many of them, and therefore it is statistically more likely that we are living inside one of those simulations than in the one base reality. It is a dizzying idea. But how does it connect to our DNA? Well, every simulation needs code. It needs a programming language. It needs a base level of instructions upon which the entire complex reality is built. What if DNA is not just a message in the simulation? What if DNA is the source code of the simulation itself? Imagine the programmers of this universe. They would need to write a program that could generate immense complexity from simple rules. A program that could learn, adapt, and evolve on its own. The laws of physics would be the high-level functions, but the DNA code would be the low-level machine language, the fundamental script that generates all the assets, all the living things in the game. In this scenario, our junk DNA is not a message from aliens within the simulation. It is the commented out code of the programmers themselves, the developer notes, the instructions and subroutines that run the whole show. Finding a message there would be like a character in a video game. Finding a note from the game's designer, hidden in the game's code. It would be the ultimate breaking of the fourth wall. This thought is perhaps the most profound of all. It suggests that the search for our Creator is not a search for an alien civilization, but for the programmers of reality. And the tool to find them is not a spaceship, but a gene sequencer. We are not just living in a program. We are the program, a self-aware, evolving piece of code that is beginning to read itself. And as you fall asleep, you can perhaps feel a sense of peace in this. You are a perfectly executed line of code in a magnificent cosmic program. You are running exactly as intended. Everything is in its right place. For so long, our search for answers has been directed outward. We have built our telescopes and pointed them toward the heavens. We have sent our probes to distant planets. We have looked up and out and far away. We have felt a deep yearning to explore the vast external universe. But this theory gently invites us to change our perspective. It suggests that the greatest journey of discovery is not outward, but inward. The universe is not just out there. A universe of equal complexity and wonder exists within each of us. The mysteries of space and time, of origin and destiny, are not just written in the stars, but also in our cells. The final frontier may not be space, but the genome. Exploring it requires a different kind of courage. Not the courage of an astronaut, but the courage of a biologist, a mystic, a philosopher. The courage to look deeply within oneself and ask the most fundamental questions. Who am I? Where did I come from? What is my purpose? The answer, this theory whispers, is waiting there. It has been waiting for billions of years, patiently, silently, carried in the blood of every ancestor you have ever had. The search for aliens, for God, for the meaning of life. It all comes full circle. The journey ends where it began, inside you. So as you finally let go of the day, turn your attention inward. Feel the vast, quiet universe that exists within your own body. It is as deep, as mysterious, and as beautiful as the one you see in the night sky. And it is your true home. You are not a small creature looking up at a big universe. You are a universe looking at itself. Let this final thought bring you a sense of complete peace, of wholeness, and of perfect belonging. The journey is over. You are home. Rest now. Sleep now. And so, our journey concludes. We have traveled from the heart of the cell to the edge of the galaxy, from the observable facts of science to the gentle whispers of a forbidden theory. We have considered the idea that we are not a cosmic accident, but a deliberate creation, a message in a bottle, with the bottle being us. We've imagined our DNA as a library of ancient knowledge, a time capsule from a lost civilization, a signature from a cosmic artist. Whether any of it is true, we do not know. For now, it remains a beautiful and soothing story, a different way to look at ourselves and our place in the cosmos. It transforms the cold, random universe into a place of intention, meaning, and connection. It suggests that the answers to our deepest questions are not far away, but are carried peacefully within us, waiting to be read. It is a thought that can bring a profound sense of peace. You are stardust. You are a living library. You are a message of hope sent across an ocean of time. Thank you for joining me on this quiet journey tonight. I hope it has helped your mind to find stillness. If you enjoyed this voyage, please consider subscribing for more lectures for sleep. And as you drift into your deepest, most peaceful rest, I leave you with one final thought to carry into your dreams. If you could read one chapter from the library hidden in your DNA, what would you hope to find?